Good morning, everybody. My name is Shasan Liu, and I am a member of the Campaign for a Fair Economy, a coalition of labor and community organizations from across San Francisco. And it's, on behalf of the coalition, it's our pleasure to welcome you today to this press event announcing the results of a study by UC Berkeley researchers on the impacts of the proposed minimum wage measure on the economy in San Francisco. The Campaign for a Fair Economy, just briefly, I'm going to open up with a few words about who we are and what this measure is about. And then we're going to go ahead and have our two researchers share the results of their study, and then we'll hear testimonies from San Francisco workers about the impact this measure will have on their lives. So again, the Campaign for a Fair Economy is a coalition of community and labor organizations in San Francisco. We are the same organizations that put the original minimum wage increase measure on the ballot back in 2003. And the same organizations who've been working with our membership for the past decade to advocate for paid sick days and for health care laws in San Francisco that have been modeled by cities and states across the country as groundbreaking protections for working people in this country. And we are very proud to have worked on the nation's strongest, most progressive, and most comprehensive minimum wage measure to go on the ballot this November. Our organizations work every day with the people that make San Francisco run, with the restaurant workers, the retail workers, hospitality workers, nurses, teachers, service providers. We are the organizations that represent these workers. And we're here because we know that these workers and their families and their communities are facing a crisis like none other. They are facing a crisis of escalating rents, where an average one-bedroom rents for $3,200 in San Francisco. They're facing a crisis of rising cost of living and having to choose between having health care or having food on the table. We know that San Francisco, which has such a proud legacy that I just talked about of passing these strong progressive labor protections, is now having the unfortunate fame of being the city with the fastest growing inequality in the country. So when our city's school teachers and social service providers are doubling up in studio apartments and even going homeless, what does that mean for the low-income families that they are serving, that they're supposed to be serving? What are those families doing? Those families are living in poverty. Those families are working multiple jobs just to make ends meet. Those families are struggling to afford basic necessities in life. And what they are not doing is pumping money into the economy and supporting their local small businesses to help San Francisco have a strong economic recovery. So now more than ever is the time we must take action, and that's why our coalition has worked so hard to put this measure on the ballot, Proposition J, which will benefit over 100,000 workers in the city. We'll hear more details in a second from the real researchers who know all the numbers, but it will benefit so many workers who will see immediately next May $240 more a month in monthly income. And that is critical funds that will help mean the difference between being able to make the rent or not make the rent. And it is one important step of many that we must take as a city to close the growing income divide. So we are really pleased that our coalition, along with the mayor, business associations, and all 11 members of the Board of Supervisors were able to reach a consensus on this measure, and to reach a consensus on the idea that the level of poverty in San Francisco is unacceptable and that it's time to turn the tide. So today, I'm very pleased to first invite up two of our researchers from UC Berkeley. Professor Michael Reich is a professor of economics and the director of the Institute for Research on Labor and Employment at the University of California, Berkeley. He is nationally recognized as the foremost researcher on minimum wage policies across the country. Ken Jacobs is the chair of UC Berkeley's Center for Labor Research and Education, and together they have conducted studies looking at the impact of minimum wage and other economic policies locally and across the country. So it's my pleasure to invite up first Ken Jacobs with the UC Berkeley Labor Center.